Hello, my name is Grisso. Today I want to share my story with you. I turned 30 today, and I've had a chance to sit here by the river and think over my life a little bit. Wow, a lot of stuff has happened, a lot of great things, and a lot of internal struggles as well. You know, a lot of people see the positive things on the outside, our smile, our work, different accomplishments perhaps. However, we may have a whole other story happening on the inside that we don't tell anybody about. Sometimes feelings and thoughts of worthlessness, that we're going to keep failing other people, that we're not really growing, we don't really have future potential, we can only go down from here. Those types of feelings can be devastating and destructive. And I found myself coming to a breaking point, which really was suicidal ideation, because I started getting careless about my own life. It was as simple as not wanting to turn the steering wheel at the next curve in the road that made me realize something had to give and something had to change. There's a study called cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a whole professional resource that psychologists use with clients. I had never heard of it, but I realized that through writing out my story, I was making discoveries in my thinking that were negative and how I could address them positively. As a result, not being a psychology major, or rather a media major, I still found some of the techniques of dealing with my own struggles by replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. And it wasn't easy to replace, I had to combat first. Every negative thought that came into my mind, I had to deal with it and apply it with a truth that said, no, life's not as bad as it sounds, and here's why. Here's the positive things I can focus on. It changed my life. I ended up writing up my story in a book called Trapped in My Own Mind, because that's exactly how I felt. As a result, I started sharing it with friends, and they added their stories to the book project. And it's now an ongoing thing called Speaking Out, with a Facebook page, with a YouTube channel called On the Cutting Edge TV, where we can share all kinds of resources, and then live events where we can go to campuses and communities and actually tell our stories and hear the stories of other people, and then connect everyone with resources. From social networking to counseling centers, to ministers, to school counselors, all kinds of opportunities exist for getting help. A lot of people don't realize when they're struggling. And if I had not spoken out, I don't think I ever would have really connected with the people that understood me and maybe gotten some help. I want to encourage you to think over your life and determine where you are and do an assessment, a checkup. How is your health? Physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, spiritually, in any other way. You know, looking back over my life, I remember as a child having some negative experiences that encouraged a lot of insecurity, and a lot of other kids are going through the same thing, whether it's through bullying or through domestic violence or other forms of abuse. These are serious issues in our society, but I'm going to tell you an issue that I believe is more serious than all of those things combined. It's what I call self-bullying or self-abuse. Self-bullying takes the things that others say about us or the things that we think about ourselves, and we believe the negative, and we start to hammer ourselves over negative things instead of combating the negative with positive truth. I had to address the negatives with facts about myself. Was I growing? Do I have potential? Can I do things well? Can I smile and reach out to somebody else? Yes, but the negative thoughts told me no. That created quite a conflict in my heart, and I had to take it head on. Life is not for the faint of heart. You're going to face many trials, but there are resources to help along the way. And the way you think about your life could determine if you keep that life. I know from personal experience. I'm not a trained counselor, I'm not a psychology major, I'm a media major. So my story is strictly personal and my own. Of course, I don't know what other people go through except what they tell me, but it's been amazing to see the commonalities between people's stories and my own, even my closest friends. I've been shocked to find that other people also felt trapped in their own mind, just like me. So when I finished the book project that told my story, which I called Trapped in My Own Mind, other students shared their story, even student leaders, business professionals, different people. And as a result, we've created a Speaking Out campaign that can go to other colleges, campuses, communities, organizations, wherever, to raise awareness about suicide prevention and depression and anxiety and abuses and other forms of internal struggles. I found that many people, such as myself, are struggling without telling anyone. A number of my friends, when I shared my story, came to me privately and said, "I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone before." That shocked me because some of these people I knew in a very personal way. I didn't realize they were struggling at all, even as well as I knew them. And it revealed to me that many of us have one thing on the outside, our smile, our image, our personality, but on the inside it can be a completely different picture. I'm reminded of the tornadoes that swept through Joplin. 4 of my relatives lost their homes in that tornado. Just the other day, they actually went through another scare with another set of storms sweeping through that area, right exactly through where they live. And those storms remind me of the storms that took place in my own life and in my own heart that I kept from everyone else, but that sprung up almost out of nowhere, caught me off guard, and I didn't know how to deal with it. As I began to dig deeper, though, I found that I could see things all the way back as a child that I had never dealt with, insecurities from negative experiences that I had never addressed, and I was still a child in some ways in my emotions, and my fears, and my thoughts. As a teenager, I faced extreme anxiety. I shut down for 9 months, didn't speak to anyone unless I absolutely had to, stayed in my bedroom as much as I possibly could, kept to myself if I had to go out in public because my parents took me out. They were very concerned, but they let me work through it. I'm glad they did. I didn't tell anyone how bad it really was, or they probably would have done more. But I went to almost the point of a nervous breakdown back at 16 years old. And now, today, turning 30, I'm reminded of the different emotions and thoughts that I progressed through in my life. Later, I experienced, at 18 years old, extreme loneliness. We moved, changed locations, completely different, school environment, church, whatever, and you had to start over, basically, with your life. And that was one of the loneliest times of my life. I'd never felt something so deep. And I could be loneliest in a crowd. After that, I went through some real doubts about who I was and everything about me, what I believed, about everybody around me. Could I trust them? A lot of fears struck me and kind of resurfaced, I guess. And then, of course, feelings of rejection, because you expect to be dating at college and then you're not. You're like, what's wrong with me? Everybody must be rejecting me. I could never get married. There must be something that's going to defeat me in life. And I might as well end it before I've suffered complete failure. That was part of the thinking that I was going through. Other emotions were in the progression as well. And ultimately, the depression and the suicidal ideation became the most powerful. When I started getting careless with my life, I realized something had to change. I began to think through what was getting me down, which was hard to do at first. But I wrote out my story in the book. I'm so glad I did. I found other people that related. I've since found counselors. I've found faith. I found friends, family, all kinds of support systems that were already there. I just needed to make use of them. And as a result, I'm now sharing my story with others. And I hope that you'll do the same. The Speaking Out campaign is on Facebook. We have new resources we're developing, from surveys to how to share your own story through video or through a written means. You can do it anonymously. We have a wall of stories some people have shared through their artwork. And as a result, it gives you a chance to also find purpose in reaching out to other people so they can actually read your story. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that if you have a river of struggles flowing through you, that you will look deep, that you'll be willing to address, you'll be willing to talk to somebody, and eventually turn that negative struggle into something you can share with others, because you never know who else is struggling with the same thing and needs someone who understands. I've been shocked at the discoveries I've made through my own story. I hope you will join me in that discovery. Thanks for watching.